You're on.
Hello, Del and Evelyn again. We got side-by-side bee boxes or hives. You can see the last time the other video, we switched these boxes around, put the super on. So that's all this is just more frames. They're just smaller, and the bees are already on them. It didn't take long. So they'll draw those out and fill them with honey.
The reason that we use a smaller box for the honey is because those deep boxes get really heavy to haul around if they're full of honey.
They're about 100 pounds when they're full. So, and it looks like Queen Mary is doing just about as good of a job. Just pop the top open and there's bees all over in the top here. So Queen Mary is doing a good job too, it looks like. We did end up giving her a little bit of sugar water. I don't think necessarily because she needed as much as some of the other ones, but we had stuff, so we were just using it up. We had some hives that were really looking like they needed some extra boost. Oh yeah. Here's a good. They're already putting honey everywhere.
Oh boy. Doesn't that look delicious? And I'll tell you, there's nothing as good as fresh honey.
Yeah, this is the stuff that we like to eat. As we're working, we'll peel this stuff off and eat it up.
My oldest boy, I think that's about the main reason.
So they've got this top box. Queen Mary's doing even better than Esther. This top box looks like it's almost full of honey already. So if there's going to be one of them that swarm, it would be this one. Yeah, this is a frame full of honey. So this frame here is all capped, dried down, and ready for the bees for wintertime. And this side's pretty much almost done too.
So it's getting to be evening out here and the sun is really bright, and I hope I'm getting a good video for you guys. It's hard for me to see with the reflection and the veil exactly what I'm taping.
So on our second frame, looks like the bees have hatched out. She has not been back through on this one yet though. There's no eggs on it. But judging by the amount of bees in this hive, I'm guessing she's probably not too far in either. So this is the first hive that we've seen this much honey in. Yep, and there's eggs on this frame already. So she's already gone back through. Bees have hatched on it. And she's laying more eggs. If we find Queen Mary, we'll show her to you, but I think we got lucky on the last one. Typically when we're doing beehives, when you got so many to do, we're just kind of moving along.
As long as we see eggs in a good pattern, we know that she's in there and she's doing okay.
Now our main concern here with a hive like this, it would be swarming. That I will go through each and every frame and look for a queen cell. When they start putting honey in this top box like this, that's when they start thinking that they're all set for the winter time, and half the bees will split. They'll make a queen cell. The bees will split off and start a new hive, and then the new queen stays behind. So with a queen like Queen Mary, we don't want to lose her. And depending on what we see, we may even end up splitting this just to be safe. We had one other hive that was just huge like this too, but they actually had less honey, I think. And
they were just going to town making bees. And they had probably 5 huge queen cells. So it was good that we checked them when we did, because they were getting ready to swarm.
Yeah, if we would have waited probably another day or two, they more than likely would have left, because there was completed swarm cells in there, and they'll typically leave before the queen even hatches. So, and they're only sealed for about a week. So probably another couple days and that hive would have taken off on us. So we're glad we got up here when we did and got to do this. Yeah, so they're just starting to get back into full frames of honey here now. So she's got this, some eggs, some brood, but mostly honey. It looks like the just keeps getting more and more. So I don't know if Jody wants to come in. There's some nectar that got spilt. So the bees are licking it all up. Right here's 3 bees, 4 bees now that are, anytime you spill anything in the hive, they'll just start licking it back up to save it.
I can't tell if it's in focus.
They don't like to see anything wasted. We might help them out with that, cut some of this off in the end. So we got 3 frames at the end, and these are just solid honey now. So they're finding some excellent nectar somewhere. And the difference could be just the queen, or it could be that just, I think we only gave them the 1 bag of sugar water. Could be just that was enough to get her going. Because they, for the most part, start out with nothing when we put this box on here. And it was only, I think, 4 cups of sugar water we put in there, so. But it sometimes is enough just to keep them moving. I'm not even going to pull that last one out because I think I'll rip too much off. Now comes the fun part, because, like we said, when these are full, they're heavy.
Yeah, you can see them all just lined up here, sucking their honey back up. These are very frugal, they don't waste anything.
And I wouldn't be a bit surprised when we get in the bottom if they have some swarm cells down there. So then the fun part becomes we have to find the queen. Because if you just remove the queen cells, they'll just make some more. Ah, that one really hurt. Right underneath the nail really hurts. Well, overall they're pretty calm with as much stuff as I've done to them.
Yep.
I just checked the hive over there and they did not like me. I got stung about 6 times without really doing anything.
It just depends. The queen's hormones can determine the temperament of the bees, their genetics. Sometimes if there's something wrong in the hive, they get really crabby, or if it's bad weather, or back home with the drought, those bees have been pretty cranky.
So this is going to be heavy.
These are very gentle. So you can see the bottom here is full of bees.
So again, it's just a good time. There's some drone brood in here. Good time for us to inspect to see if there's any Varroa mites in here. I might see, I don't know if that's just a space. I think it was.
Yeah, where their little leg folds over.
Yeah. So these are almost, it's called a purple eye stage. This one here is at the purple eye stage, which means it's about ready to hatch or be completed. This looks kind of gooey, but which means if they're at that phase, if there was mites in here, they'd definitely be in there at that point. The female mite will go on right before they spin a cocoon, and then it'll lay eggs that'll feed on the larva. So if they're about to hatch, I might see one right here.
I read in a
right here
article
some.
That I think it's in Africa they actually
right here.
roast these and eat them.
I don't know if Jody can get on the video, but there's
come around the other side. Ooh.
right there it is. Alright, I don't know. It's right on my finger there now. That is a Varroa mite. So that's the dreaded enemy of the beekeeper. And they're so tiny and small, but they do so much damage to the bees.
Can you see? I'm having such a hard time.
I can, it looks like it should be on.
In focus.
Yeah. So these aren't, this hive's not doing too bad though. Like I said, the other hive that we checked, there was between 3 and 4 in each cell that I opened, and this was the first one out of all these bees that I looked over. So there are definitely mites in here, which you always have mites, but they're not such a terrible problem.
It's when a hive is weakened, what happens is they can't get rid of them, and so the mites just keep populating and overtaking the hive. They weaken the immune system. But when you have a strong hive, usually they can handle it, and they pick them off.
So this frame looks like they got honey on one side and it's maybe more empty on the other. So this is a full frame of capped honey. So they're finding some nectar somewhere. This is pollen / nectar. So they're starting to run out of room to even make brood anywhere.
That's called honey bound.
Yep.
Where
So
they filled up with honey and then they
they're
run out of room.
definitely another word of warning: if you're a beekeeper, you should never wear torn up pants.
He's got a hole in the knee of his pants. He wasn't thinking he didn't pack up another pair without a hole in them.
Yeah, I don't know how many stings I've gotten on the knee. So this is all drones on this side, so this might be a frame that we just pull out if they've got... I'm getting stung up. Being right in front of the entrance doesn't help either. So this might be a frame that we just leave out, because if there's going to be mites anywhere... Oh, there's a couple here on this one too. And I think that's probably what we will do. We'll shake the bees off. I don't see any worker brood on this. And that is one method of getting rid of Varroa mites
yep,
too.
that's an integrated pest management technique. So instead of using chemicals or like Mite Away quick strips, you can put a... they actually make frames that are just drone brood, and the queen will lay a drone egg if it's a larger cell. So you put the drone frame in there and she'll lay a bunch of eggs. Then when it's capped like that, you take it out and stick it in the freezer. That'll kill the drone brood, but it'll also kill all of the mites. Then you can put it back in, and the bees will pull out the dead brood and the dead mites and throw them out, or some people feed them to their chickens.
That's what we were looking for. So this is a queen cell. They're getting ready to swarm. So it's, yep, there's a larva in here. You can see this is a little bit different. It's facing down. It's not all the way developed yet, but it looks like they just started it, and it looks like the larva is just real small yet. So our theory was correct. They're going to get ready to swarm here. So one of the things we'll probably do is we're going to move Queen Esther to a new hive.
I think this is Queen Mary.
Or Queen Mary, sorry. We're going to move Queen Mary to a new hive, and we'll just let some of these cells develop. And my guess is that if they got one in there, there's probably more farther in too.
Having a break in the cycle of the queen laying eggs and having a break in the brood will also help to decrease the mites. It's another integrated pest management technique to decrease mites.
Because it's going to take anywhere from, with a cell like that, it's probably going to take at least 3 weeks, maybe even 4, for the queen to keep going and laying eggs. So by doing that, if there's no brood, the mites have nothing to breed on, and then the population decreases.
I'm not sure what you're hearing on the microphone. I have a big fuzzy wind cover, and there's a bee there's like 3 of them just stinging the microphone. I don't know if you can hear that buzzing. the microphone. I'm going to pause this, okay, Josh? I'll help you find the queen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we found
She ducked
Mary.
under here.
She's right on the middle of the back of the frame right here.
Okay.
Wow. These bees are not happy. I got stung in the nose while the camera was off.
So right here's Queen Mary. Luckily we found her. The frame right before this, I found 3 more queen cells. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Queen Mary out. We're going to start a new hive with her. Because if we don't do that, what's going to happen is this hive is going to split in probably another week or 2.
Alright, I'm going to back up, Josh, because they're not liking this black camera. That's why I'm getting stung all over the shoulder. The strap off of my neck. Wow. So it came up and I thought, man, is that bee in my helmet? And it stung me right in the end of my nose. And that really hurt.
So we brought extra equipment today with us, just in case we'd have something like this happen. Make sure that she's still on here somewhere. Oh, there she is. So we're good. I'm gonna put Queen Mary in here.
Do we have another bottom board out here?
Oh, there. Except that's
Right, no, there's one right there.
Oh yeah, we have this one. Unfortunately, we had one hive. We don't know what happened.
Yeah, they totally absconded, we think. Unless, we did find some evidence that a skunk had been over eating bees, but it's unlikely that he would have eaten a whole, yeah.
Go back and review our notes and find out what exactly, because from what we can remember, the hive was doing really well. And something just all of a sudden made them leave. Sometimes a hive will just decide that they don't like where they're at or whatever, they don't like their hive, and they will abscond.
That doesn't usually happen with a package in a new place, though, I don't think.
Especially doesn't usually happen when you have a package and they've already got brood in there.
I wonder if the skunk is why they're so angry about this microphone.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to take Queen Mary, and we're going to add some more bees to her hive. Put this over here.
So Josh found a couple more queen cells while he was looking for Queen Mary.
So we're going to just let those develop. I'm going to take some frames of bees, which this is an excellent frame to use. Or no, that's not.
You don't want the drone one.
That was the drone comb. I think what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. You got to give them some extra bees, and this is a good frame to do that with because I got to knock all the bees off anyway. So knock all the bees off. And they'll smell Queen Mary in there and they'll fly in. And then, since we found the queen cells up top, or in the bottom I mean, I'll take some of the bees from the bottom and hopefully a frame of brood somewhere in there. And that'll give Queen Mary enough bees to keep going. And then this hive can
Yep, they'll feel like they swarmed because some of the bees are gone and Queen Mary isn't in there anymore. So they'll develop those queen cells, and that'll kind of quell the urge for them to swarm.
They're not happy. I'm going to put this frame in there because it has some sealed brood.
There's no queen cell on it, is there?
Not on this one.
So when the bees make queen cells, they'll usually make quite a few when they're intending to swarm, but the first one that hatches, the first queen, she'll go through and sting all the other queen cells before they hatch, because almost always bees only like to have one queen in a hive.
You can get a good view of how many bees are in here. So all these frames, if you remember from the last video, we have now 2 boxes.
You can see they're just totally all covered with bees.
Yeah, this whole box is just right full.
Which is really nice to see.
Yeah, that's how a beehive is supposed to explode in population. So, but the problem is that they do it too well, and then they just take off. So as beekeepers, we gotta manage that too.
Yeah, and when bees get it in their head that they're going to swarm, we've tried to take all the queen cells out, and they really aren't happy until they can swarm.
Right. The only way to do that is to make them think they swarmed, and there's other things you can do, but the most effective is just to take the old queen out. Oh, look at this one's got white pollen. This one's got pollen baskets full of white pollen. Oh, this one too. So they're finding the white pollen from somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know what is the matter with these bees. They want to sting my armpits.
We had a photographer out yesterday, and he's like, well, don't you guys wear the suit? No, we wear the veil and that's it. And he's like, well, you get stung, wouldn't you?
Put on my flowery deodorant, and when they get there, they're so disappointed.
You do get stung, but he found out later on that having the suit on in the middle of summer is hot.
Yeah.
So I think that's enough bees for Queen Esther to keep going. What'll happen though is some of those bees are going to go, they know that that's not their hive, so when they fly out, they'll fly back to this hive. So
pretty much all of the bees that were already foraging, that were already flying out of the hive, are used to going back, and they'll go back into the same place that they were in. All of the house bees that haven't flown out yet will orient to that hive location. Right.
But that's why you put a frame of sealed brood, because when they hatch out, then that's their hive, that's all they've known. And there'll be a lot of bees that stay in there too, because that's where their queen is. But then that'll give this hive an opportunity to make some new queen cells. I'm going to move some of the frames from the top down to the bottom, and that'll do some of the same thing. The frames that I took out for her, I'll put new frames, and that'll make them think that they're not as far along as they thought they were, and then they'll be making honey for us then too. So.
And the break in the brood cycle, because it'll take a little while for the new queen to get mated and start laying eggs, will also knock down the mite population.
Right. So with that, we're gonna close up Queen Mary's hive. Just finish up by putting the top box back on there, and I think we'll probably put 2 supers on her, because there's so many bees, they'll make a lot of honey that way. And next time you see them, there'll be a new queen in there. Queen Mary will be in here, and Queen Mary 2 will be in there. So thanks a lot for all your support. Your bees are doing phenomenal. Out of all the apiary, between them and probably 3 others, they're probably the top beehives, but definitely these 2 are top-notch bees with really good queens, and really appreciate your support, especially since you bought 2 of them. We're really happy that you did that. Hopefully you enjoy doing this. So it'll be another 3 weeks, and you'll see we can do a video for both your queens too. We'll do a short one for your new one. So thanks a lot for your support. If you have any questions, give us an email, and we'll be happy to answer all your questions. Bye.